If Jesus can heal anyone, why didn't he heal everyone who asked? And more, why is it that sometimes even when you pray with faith, seek him, fast and do everything right, it feels like heaven is silent? This question isn't new, and that's exactly why it needs to be handled with care. Because we're not talking about a lack of power or an absence of love. We're talking about something that appears repeatedly in the Bible, yet many people read it without noticing. I want you to understand something right from the start. God's silence is never neglect. There's always a purpose behind it. And that purpose is often greater than what our hurry or our logic can grasp. In Jesus' days, even the disciples themselves were puzzled. They saw moments where a blind man was healed instantly, and right after, someone else with a different need was left untouched. That wasn't indifference. That was intentional. And here's a principle you need to hold on to. When God acts selectively, it's not because he loves some more and others less. It's because there's a plan, and to understand the plan, you have to look beyond the moment and start seeing the bigger picture. The fact that he can, and doesn't mean he doesn't care. It means he's working on a level that, in that moment, you just can't see yet. And that's exactly what we're about to start uncovering now. Picture Jerusalem on an ordinary day. The sun beats down on the pale stone streets, and near the sheep gate lies the pool of Bethesda. There dozens, maybe even hundreds, of people wait. Each carrying their own pain, each with their own story. The blind, the paralyzed, the sick, all gathered in hope of one single moment, the stirring of the water. And then Jesus arrives. Now you might think, this is the perfect opportunity for a massive miracle. He's going to heal everyone at once. But that's not what happened. He walks straight to one man. Someone who had been sick for 38 years. He speaks to him, heals him, and moves on. If you had been there watching, the question might have been inevitable. But what about the others? Why only him? This wasn't random. Jesus didn't operate like a mass healer. Every gesture, every word, every miracle had a defined purpose. A purpose not shaped by chance or by the pressure of the moment. Here's the teaching point. God's actions follow a divine schedule and direction, not human expectations. He doesn't move just to meet everyone's needs in any way possible, but to accomplish something specific at the exact time for the exact person. And when we understand this, we start to realize that the question is often not, why hasn't it happened yet? But what is God building before it happens? If this message is speaking to you, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, and share it with someone you want to see standing stronger in their faith. Here we talk about topics that strengthen your spiritual life and deepen your understanding of the Word, so you can live out everything God has for you. Now let's look at an episode that, at first glance, is almost unsettling. Jesus is in Nazareth, the town where he grew up, where everyone knew him. Neighbors, relatives, childhood friends were all there. Expectations were high. If he's done so many miracles elsewhere, imagine what he'll do here in his own hometown. But what happens? Mark 6 verse 5 says, "He could not do any miracles there except lay his hands on a few sick people and heal them." That line is shocking. Could not? Jesus, the Son of God, the Almighty, limited? The text explains why, because of their unbelief. And here we step into a territory most people avoid, the direct influence of our posture before God on what we receive from him. Notice this, it's not that Jesus lost power or that heaven had shut its doors. The problem was in the people's hearts. They saw him only as the carpenter's son. They knew his family, remembered him as a boy, and that kept them from recognizing who he truly was. Spiritually speaking, it was as if they were saying, "We already know who you are and we don't expect anything from you." And without expectation, there's no room for the supernatural to move. Here's the uncomfortable question every sincere follower needs to ask. Could my posture toward God be blocking something he wants to do in my life? I'm not talking about deserving it, I'm talking about being receptive. Many times we pray with our lips but our hearts are locked. Or we ask but deep down we've already decided it won't happen. And the Bible makes it clear that faith is not just believing God can, it's trusting that he wants to and will act, even when we see nothing happening yet. This story in Nazareth is a living reminder that miracles are not only about divine power, they also require a heart that's open, humble, and willing to believe without evidence. So before assuming God is silent, maybe it's time to ask, do I truly expect him to speak? Do I truly believe he can act here and now? Few stories reveal the heart of God as clearly as the episode of Lazarus. Jesus receives word that his friend is gravely ill. Everyone's expectation is obvious. He's going to rush over and heal him immediately. But what does Jesus do? He waits. 2 days go by. And when he finally arrives, Lazarus has already been dead for 4 days. For Martha and Mary, this felt like a delay. For the disciples, it was baffling. But Jesus knew exactly what he was doing. He himself says in John 11 verse 4, "This sickness will not end in death. No, it is for God's glory, so that God's Son may be glorified through it." In other words, the goal wasn't just to ease the pain, it was to reveal something far greater, that he is not only the healer, but also the resurrection and the life. This principle is uncomfortable for us because we prefer the instant miracle. We want the pain to end now, the answer to come right away. But sometimes God delays the solution because he's building something deeper. Unshakable faith, a powerful testimony, inner transformation. The miracle in Bethany wasn't just about Lazarus coming back to life, it was about everyone there recognizing who Jesus truly was. And here's the challenge. What if what you call a delay is actually God's strategy, so that his glory will be revealed in a way that marks you and everyone around you forever? We've come to the part that, for many, is the hardest to accept. Because up until now, we've talked about delays, about faith, about miracles that come at unexpected times. But what about when the answer we're waiting for never comes? Look closely at the Gospels. Jesus didn't heal every sick person in Israel. He didn't cast out every demon in Galilee. He didn't raise everyone who died. This isn't a lack of power or of love, it's a choice. A choice directed by the perfect plan of the Father. When Jesus walked the earth, every act was a sign. The healing of the man born blind wasn't just an act of compassion. It was a lesson to show that he is the light of the world. The raising of Lazarus wasn't just to give a friend back his life. It was to prove that he is the resurrection and the life. The paralyzed man healed at Bethesda wasn't only physically restored. He was chosen to be a display of grace in the middle of a crowd all hoping for the same miracle. Here's the point, healing is not the ultimate goal. It's an arrow pointing to something greater, the eternal restoration at the very heart of the gospel. The Bible shows us that some receive their miracle now and others later. Some experience healing in this body, others only when they meet the Lord face to face. But all who believe will be completely restored. And that changes everything. Because if the immediate healing doesn't come, it doesn't mean God has forgotten you. It means he's working on a deeper level, maybe to strengthen you, maybe to use your life as a testimony that will reach people an instant miracle never could. Paul, for example, prayed 3 times for his thorn in the flesh to be removed. God's answer was, "My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness." Paul didn't get the removal of the problem. He received supernatural strength to endure and keep fulfilling his mission. And here's the gold in this revelation. The miracle is not just about you. It's about God being seen through you. It's about your calling, about the story he's writing. And sometimes that story needs chapters of waiting and struggle so the ending will be glorious. Now the question is, do you trust the author enough to keep turning the pages, even when you don't understand the plot? If the answer you've been waiting for still hasn't come, it doesn't mean God has forgotten you or that your prayer didn't work. It means he is moving, just in a way you might not be able to see right now. We want quick fixes, instant healings, doors that open on the spot. But God sees beyond today. He works for something that not only solves the moment, but shapes your character, strengthens your faith, and prepares you for eternity. When he heals, it's wonderful. When he intervenes instantly, it's a reason for joy and testimony. But what about when he doesn't heal right away? What about when the problem remains? That's when many feel abandoned, yet it's often the moment when he is closest. Maybe instead of removing the battle, he's strengthening you to win it. Maybe instead of changing the circumstances, he's changing you. God's silence is not neglect. It's strategy. It's training. He may be preparing you to carry something far greater than just momentary relief. The real question is not only when will God act, but what is God doing in me while I wait? Healing is important. Miracles are precious. But knowing the God behind them, that transforms your whole life. In the end, all who believe will be completely restored. Some here, others in eternity. But all, without exception, will be in the right hands. So, after everything we've seen today, it's clear, Jesus never acts by chance. Every healing, every wait, every moment of silence, all of it is part of a perfect plan crafted down to the smallest detail. And that means that even when you can't see it, God is working. Even when the miracle doesn't come the way you expected, he hasn't lost control. And more than that, he hasn't forgotten you. What I want you to take from this is simple but powerful. Waiting is also action in the kingdom of God. It's in the silence that he shapes you, in the process that he strengthens you, and in the delay that he prepares something that could never be built any other way. Now let me ask you for something. If this word touched your heart like this video, this isn't just about numbers, it's so the message can reach others who also need this hope. And subscribe to the channel because every week we bring deep biblical reflections, explained clearly and practically so you can grow in your faith. And before you go, leave this in the comments: I trust God's timing. I want to pray with you to know who's walking this journey of trust, even when the eyes can't see. My brother, my sister, stand firm. God's timing is never early, but it's never late.